to our movie review. Top lists are coming soon, but we went to the theaters, or we stayed home from the theaters to try something a little new. I don't think anybody knows about this film coming out, but as I was doing research, okay, what films are in January, what are in February, making my schedule, I saw we could go see The Beekeeper, Jason Statham, love him. Love his action movies, The Transporter. So, yeah, some of them get pretty bad, like Expendables 4 and these kinds of things.
The man learned to keep bees in preparation for the role.
Yeah, and
he did.
But I heard some good things, some bad things. You know, like it's a blah film. So I had seen the trailer for a new Splatterhouse horror comedy on Shudder, and I love horror. Joe loves horror. I have a Shudder subscription, and so I was looking forward to this. It's got a great poster. It has one of the best trailers of all time after I see the film. A little bit of spoilers. Because it got me interested. I said, okay, let's do something different. Instead of Beekeeper, which you know, it's probably like, yeah, the action's good, but the story sucks. Or there's one satisfying part, and then yeah, it's standard stuff that we've all seen before. Let's do something different. Let's go watch this creative little horror comedy on Shudder. Okay, so that's what we did. Unfortunately, I am very...
I see why it's on Shudder.
I see why it's on Shudder instead of in the theaters, and I am very sad to report to you that you can go ahead and skip this one. In fact, some of the stuff I'm about to say about it, I don't know. I feel like I'm punching down in some way, that this is some guy's passion project. He really, really loves, you know, prog rock. He loves practical effects, some weirdness. And I'm trying to pull up some more information about it here, because there is some skill here. What got me interested in this trailer, there was like really cool practical effects. Zombie makeup that looks really good, like a Satan mixed with fucking guitars and chords and just wackiness and good gore and blood effects. And I said, okay, so they might be talented in creating these things that you would see like in trauma films. Yeah. Maybe it could be funny. I'll say that everybody worked on it in the costume design and the characters design and these unique sort of, I call them creatures or whatever. The macabre of it did really well, in fact. And some of the music is really good. But while it seems like everyone was having a lot of fun making the film and on set, just having a great time on screen, I was not having a good time. I almost died of cringe. It was that bad, at least for me. And that's why I said I feel bad about like punching down. Like this is definitely somebody's passion project, it seems like. And I just never laughed. I felt like the characters were completely unlikable. A lot of the scenario, it's very, very neurotic, and maybe that kind of personality type as our main character just puts me off. I just want him to, in the film, within the context of the film, die and get, you know, his comeuppance and kind of things, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it was difficult for me to endure, and I felt embarrassed that I had made the decision to stay home and watch this rather than go see Jason Statham kick some ass. No matter how boring.
So
we did say y'all say some money. It says my Shudder subscription, which, you know, I will often go on Amazon and I will dig in the bottom for the horror, or I'll go on Shudder and I'll watch some random ones. And I guess if you look at it from that point of view, there are way worse films than this. I'm not trying to tell you this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm trying to tell you that this was a horror comedy that was not my kind of comedy and didn't make me laugh. And if you ever, what's the film's name? God darn it. The telemarketer film. With that,
Sorry to Bother You?
Yes. This, if you've seen Sorry to Bother You, none of you have seen it, but if you've seen Sorry to Bother You, like that third act,
like, what
this is the whole film of the third act of Sorry to Bother You, and I hated it. I thought it was, yeah, I just didn't like it. So that's what I thought. I'm very curious. Alex, what did you think of this film?
I agree with you that, this isn't the same as like a Disney thing that we watched, or this is like it's not A24, it's not even Blumhouse, right? This is something that a bunch of people with a camera and insanely talented makeup artists.
Yes.
And it's just like, I feel it's important because like actually, like looking at, you see Alex Winters in this suit and you're like, wow.
Alex Winters is, just for those of you who don't know, he's in Bill and Ted, the other half of Bill and Ted. And go ahead.
Yeah, and like everything in this looks incredible. The problem is, I always come back to it's like writing is free, right? Once you've already paid the writer, you can be like, no, man, I need a rewrite because it's just not good. This is one of the most aggressively boring things I've ever watched. And like I even through the bad movies, I'm paying attention because it's like, look, this is our job. And it's silly in what we're doing, but it's like, this is our job. I'm going to pay attention to this bad movie, and I'm going to figure out what the motivation between ape and mecha ape is. And this movie is so much more boring than anything I've watched in a very long time. It was cringy, and it's not good. And it is a shame because you look at it and you're like, man, he's in a full latex suit. He's got the ridiculous Tom Cruise hands from Tropic Thunder, where the big old sausage fingers.
This character Alex Winters plays, I did like.
Yeah.
I like that one.
And so it's like he's doing he's like an Eastern European leprechaun, but like supersized, and it looks incredible. But the stuff coming out of everyone's mouth, and this is not.
Look that up, in fact.
It's not good, and I felt bad watching it. I was upset. Like halfway through it, it was like
embarrassed.
I was embarrassed for everyone in the writing room for this thing. It's like we should have gone and seen a Jason Statham movie, and even if it was terrible, it would have been better than this.
Yep, we're basically talking about the same thing.
Across the board.
It looked good.
Darn it.
Yeah.
That trailer, I said, hey, Joe, I asked the boys, I said, okay, there's 3 movies that came out, Beekeeper, A Book of Clarence, and Destroy All Monsters. I was like, go watch the trailer. And the trailer?
Yes, that's my positive. It looked good.
Yeah.
That's about it. Everything else, I was fucking bored. It was not a horror. It was not a comedy. There was one funny part. We could talk about that later, but that was the only time I really laughed.
I think I only laughed once or twice. We'll talk about it in the spoilers.
And again, the makeup was amazing, and it reminded me of the movie Freaked. I just saw that recently with Blackman. He showed me that movie.
You saw that movie? Yeah,
it was funny.
That was a long time ago. And I remember the creature effects and all the effects being really great. I don't remember the movie. Was it all right?
Yeah, it was better than this one.
Yes, okay, all right, yeah.
Yes, that one
this kind of reminded me of that.
It had some
and that also had Alex Winters.
Yes, and Keanu as well.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was a werewolf. Yeah, it was funny. Other than that, it reminded me of that and also Idle Hands, but Idle Hands is way better. I don't know if you remember Idle Hands.
So Idle Hands,
Yeah, that one was way better too. That one was a real horror comedy.
Yes.
And that's
horror comedies are rare.
Yes.
And that's why I thought let's maybe we can hit one. Dale, what was that?
Tucker
and Dale.
Amazing.
If y'all haven't seen a horror comedy, start with that one.
Oh,
that one's a great one.
Excellent. 10 out of 10.
Exactly. I like that one as well. And Idle Hands, and this movie actually made me think of Idle Hands. I was like, well, that one was better. I get the concept they were going for, but the main character just kind of boring, and his line delivery just didn't do it for me, and I was honestly pretty fucking bored.
Yeah, they were unfortunately weak actors, except for Alex Winters. I think he did a good job as Vlad.
It's always going crazy. It's funny.
But so I've looked up, and then you have the theme, destroy all monsters. Like, destroy all humans, video games. This might have, some cool crossover in this kind of thing. It's the trailer. The trailer fooled us, unfortunately.
They did a good job with the trailer.
They definitely did. So here are the writers: Mike Benner, Jared Logan, and Charles A. Piper. So, and now this makes a little sense because they got a cameo from what's his name?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes, they have a cameo from Kumail, and one of the writers here, Jared Logan, was known for Stuber, Stuber and Destroy All Neighbors. Okay, so Jared Logan got on the phone and be like, hey, bro, I need a favor. Remember we worked on Stuber? We were like the only ones that liked Stuber. I like Stuber.
It's exactly what you think is going to be.
Better film than this. And Mike Benner, who's known for Bob's Burgers, Danger Mouse, and Destroy All Neighbors. So this just seems like, a few guys in the industry that, you know, had one or two projects that took off, and then they were like, we got this great idea, we want to do this other thing. And then Charles A. Piper, I don't know what he's known for, basically this. And it looks like they had a lot of fun. But for me, it just, like I said, like you said, wasn't funny, wasn't scary, or didn't have the horror.
Yeah.
But often these don't. I'm not looking for horror. I'm just looking to be entertained. And most of the time, I was bored. I was entertained when Vlad was on screen doing his awful accent. That was entertaining. But it is a creative project that just really leans into its identity, and it's just very cringy to watch from the outside when it's not working, unfortunately. And I say this, so if you do have a Shudder subscription and you want to put yourself through maximum cringe, we're talking like 9 out of 10 cringe, then you watch just like the last 20 minutes of it, and it's difficult to endure. So, they set aside character development for it just didn't feel like it had a cohesive message or point. I get what the whole thing is a huge allegory for making, overcoming distractions, being yourself. All the cheesy
shit done.
all getting shit done, the cheesiness and stuff, and you know, and standing up for yourself. But this one ain't it, man. And I even like some progressive rock, and I'm like, you know, and I try to show other people, and they're like, wow, that's too much for me. It's like, you know, pots and pans and rattling and stuff.
That's what it kind of felt like to me. Someone just like, hey, play my demo throughout this whole thing.
Yes!
That's
Perfect.
No, I don't like.
Perfect.
I don't want
That's a
to
good
listen
analogy.
I
Just some random guy walks up to you on the street, makes you play the tape, and you actually are like, all right, I'm going to play the tape. And you play the tape, and you see there's some talent here and there, but it's like, most of the time you're like, all right, why did I do that? And unfortunately, that's what this is, as much as I wanted it to work. But the main star, I guess it was, this guy's name maybe Jonah William Brown, the character. Jonah Ray is the actor. I just don't think he's very good. And as the lead, I was not invested in his character. In fact, very unlikable, not working for me. Girlfriend didn't do it for me. Really, the only ones that were doing anything was Alex Winters and the special effects. So let's just go with final verdicts.
Good.
On like how?
Is
this on the OJ movie scale?
You know, so let's also say this.
This
This does sometimes feel to me, it was so bad that it felt like it was on, we were watching like an OJ thing, right? And I'm sure this has a bigger budget, like 5 times the budget of all the movies you watch.
Some of them, yeah.
Which, if you think of it like that, it's even worse, you know? No, we have to take this on the real movie scale. We were going to go see Beekeepers, and we decided to stay home and watch something based on a good trailer. It just feels like you're in your fucking bed, and you're scanning through Amazon, and you're like, all right, we did it. When I went through it, I said, maybe we shouldn't film this review, but I'm already all the way in.
Yeah.
Might as well finish off.
Like maybe a curve or something.
I was trying to grab it because I'm trying to be nice. It's like, look, I love the idea of dudes getting together and filming their cool thing.
Filming their passion.
Yeah, and even if sometimes it's dumb. And trust me, we know all about that. Sometimes it doesn't work and it's not funny, and sometimes it's really great. Yeah. And sometimes you have significantly more fun making something than the audience.
Everybody enjoying.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those situations. And I feel bad, but like this is, I mean, it is impressive how bored I was in this movie, and I shouldn't be because I love practical effects. I love body horror thing, and honestly, I think that the base story here completely and totally works. It's a guy, he's trying to finish his passion project, and there's all these distractions, and it's like a series of unfortunate events, and there should be some really fun stuff that happens there. It just wasn't funny. There was no comedy in this horror comedy, and we knew that there wasn't going to be any horror in it because it's supposed to be that kind of thing, so I think it kind of failed on all fronts, and if I'm that bored in a movie, we're talking like 2.
Yeah.
And I feel bad doing it because it's just like, look, but you're talking about like if this is on the normal movie scale, like,
that's what I'm saying. I feel bad that make y'all. I put y'all on this thing and we're punching down because I mean
this
technically we are. But
it
whatever.
is one of the worst things I've seen, and I've seen like Lamageddon and some of these other ones that he's made me watch. But they know what they are and they try to have fun with it.
Yes.
And they have like there's jokes that they're kind of let you in.
Ray, oh man, I'm telling you, I don't like this guy. Apparently, he's a co-host of the Nerdist podcast, which in turn led to close collaboration with Mystery Science Theater, Joel. So there's a lot of, sort of experience and what would you call it? People know some of these guys here.
Okay.
And while they may be great people and everything, I just don't think the project came together in an entertaining way for me.
Yeah, I mean this happens a bunch. I've got a lot of buddies that are in bands, and you go see them, and you're like, oh, I like my buddy, and he's in the back, usually on the drums or something, and everyone else fucking sucks, and you're like, oh, that's the makeup guy in this one, and then you watch everyone else, and you're just like, and you're like, oh,
my buddy's in it. Oh boy,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
Jonah Ray, the co-host of Mystery Science.
I don't think it's not so bad that it's good. It's not any of those things where like I like those kind of movies sometimes where you can like have way too much to drink with your buddies, and I think everyone would be bored out of their fucking mind, and you would put on something better. So I'm sorry, but I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3. Like Alex nailed it. Even I would put something better on than this if we're like just hanging out. It's like, hey, let's watch a dumb movie.
Yeah, let's watch a horror comedy.
And this is what I expected from this, a dumb, fun movie. But it wasn't. It was just dumb. It wasn't funny. There were no memorable scenes. Like,
how dare you? You hate everything anyway, guys. You're just not Mystery Science Theater fans.
I love. Well, I used to love Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, it's later on.
Later
Mystery.
Yeah,
Science.
the best thing was like it looks good. It was shot well.
Did you know Alex Winter co-directed Freaked?
Yes,
I didn't know that. Yeah. It's cool.
So Bachman told me to. He's like, hey, actually check this one out. And
yeah. It's just fun because, we all know what Keanu went on to do, and Alex Winters likes to do these kinds of things.
Yeah, this one could have been better.
Yeah.
So, nope.
3 out of 10. I'm going to go 3 out of 10 solely for the effects. Because the effects studio, whatever studio they use, the makeup artists, they have talent. And this is a prime example of extreme talent in one area of your film, and then we're lacking elsewhere. And I will say, here's the people that did excellent. Cinematography, pretty solid. Loved all the lighting and sets. Well done. On a budget, for sure. They had a smaller budget than normal. The practical effects, the gore, which there is some, and some good stuff there. Some better than some shitty horror films that I've seen. And then finally, like the CGI battle that they have at the end where it turns into a fucking fever dream. Yeah, there's some talent there. And you look at all this stuff, and I'm like, man, the elements, all of the elements are there. I wouldn't get rid of any of these elements. In fact, I wouldn't even get rid of, the guy that said I didn't like his performance, Jonah Ray Rodriguez, some of these other things. But something needs to change, be it the director and the writing. I think that's probably where it is the writing and the directing, but mostly the writing. The fact that none of the jokes hit, it's just not entertaining. There's huge swaths of boring sections until you get to something that is kind of entertaining or gets there and then stops. And really, it's only a few cameos from the Reno 911 guy shows up in it. The short guys.
Thomas Lennon
with the mustache. Yep. And Stuber, the guy. Kumail shows up in it as well. And that's really...
He was funny because he's always funny.
Yeah, he's always funny.
That was the best part.
I know.
But he was only in there for like a minute.
And that was the best part.
And that's when we actually laughed. And I said, okay, that was funny. And then we went on to the rest of the film. All right. So that's it. I'm going to go with the 3 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to watch our spoiler section, because, You apparently also wasted your time and invested your time in watching this because you're just here to hang out with us because there's no way you're looking this up. Anyways, we did a failed experiment, and we'll see you in the spoiler section. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section for Destroy All Neighbors. Does he in fact destroy all neighbors?
Yes, accidentally.
Okay. So I guess this is a story about an annoying, neurotic prog rock asshole who can't stand. He's not
Just
an
making
asshole. He's just a
excuses
pushover.
for-
I cannot stand that character where they can't stand
Well,
up
that's
for
why he has a little
themselves.
arc, but
I know, but there's not really an arc. It
no,
doesn't.
no.
It's written there, but it's not executed. I still think he's a sniveling, neurotic, fucking pushover loser. So I don't know. I guess if he
failed
played
on
it
the arc.
perfectly, I guess
They
he
failed
played a
on the
little
arc.
too perfectly. And so basically, he's got a girlfriend. She is wonderful to him, and he's just making prog rock. And I will say, some of the music initially was good. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can jam to that. But as the film went on, and anytime they actually like, okay, this is about prog rock, and he's got a band. Let me hear the music. Anytime they actually do that, it's not good. I don't know what happened there. It's like the rest of it was good, like the intro music and going down that tunnel. They even had a credit for the dude that made the credit tunnel, and I was like,
Is it the same dude from Freaks? Because
that guy's entertaining. That guy's talented. And then the film starts.
Yeah.
Like I said, talent behind the camera with the cinematography and the effects because, I like the sets. So Alex.
So he's been working on his album for 3 years. His girlfriend, you can tell, is a little tired of him making excuses and stuff, but she's super supportive and she's trying to help him out. He gets a new neighbor that moves in, and it's Vlad. It's Alex Winters in a Eastern European leprechaun like thing.
He is really short.
Yeah, and he plays super loud music all the time. The guy doesn't have it in him to go confront him, and he's like, maybe I'll go bang on the wall, and he's just like, don't bang on the wall, just go to his door and let him know it's too loud. Maybe he doesn't know that the walls are too thin.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And so he goes over there and he bangs on the wall after she goes to bed, and then the guy comes out and like you hear him stomp in the hallway, and then
He's so scared.
Yeah, and he's hiding and cowering, and he spits in the little looking glass, and then so he's like, oh, and he calls the cops.
Yeah, and that essentially what propels this story forward. But so Vlad, who plays EDM, but it's like EDM mixed with like women getting fucked or something. It's like porn
he's
and
playing
EDM,
porn, yeah,
and lifting weights constantly. So that's these concepts are funny, when they're written on paper. When I say them out loud, but when you're watching them, it doesn't do it. And then he's so timid, he doesn't even want to bang on the wall, and he comes over and he bangs on it once, and then everything stops. That's kind of funny. The concept of that's funny, and then the guy walks over. So you have the confrontation, and of course, when he calls the cops the next day, Vlad is already over at his house, macking on his girl, manipulating people around him that he's this nice guy, sorry, everything. But meanwhile, when he's going to go, he's acting like a fucking troll. And this is the better part of the film. Other than the cameo, this Alex Winters as Vlad is entertaining. When he's on screen, I'm curious. It's like danger. What is he going to do kind of thing. And if they just leaned into that and just did a lot more of these two playing off each other, then I maybe could have gotten into it.
Yeah, really ramp up the silliness. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for them to kind of get weird with it and get silly. But the problem is the straight man here plays it too straight, and he's sniveling, and then they kind of mute Vlad for the rest of the movie. So the next day he goes over there, and Vlad's blasting porn and EDM again, and he finally goes over there. He's going to stick up for himself. And there's like, he feels like he's in danger kind of situation, but Vlad ends up slipping on a chicken bone and impales himself on his you know,
I don't even know what he did.
Yeah, and he slips,
homemade
barbell.
weightlifting.
Yeah, and so he
And
slips
it was
on
just
the
bar sticking out.
and it's 6. Yeah, and then so he's like, I'm gonna continue lifting weights. I'm fine. And then a cinder block that he was using or something hits him in the. It decapitates him. And so the guy actually didn't commit any crimes. The guy, this was purely an accident.
Yes.
But we delved immediately into I got to dissolve the body and cut him into pieces with a sawzall. And
There is a subplot here with him watching a how-to video or a
Dawn of Dimension.
progressive rock instructional videos
Yeah.
that kind of warp into his subconscious and telling him, you know, got to hide the body, got to do all these different things. So, yeah, we go on to, here's where the shenanigans begin, and it's supposed to be fun, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not seeing up till now, I'm like, don't worry, guys, we're going to get to the good stuff in the trailer, and it
didn't happen. Did you ever see Voices with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard of that movie.
I like that
I've
movie a
seen
lot.
the trailer. This was reminding me of that concept, and now I'm immediately curious whether Voices is better.
Voices
than
is
this.
darker than you think it's gonna be because you're like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is gonna be super funny. It's like
It's
no,
a horror comedy,
yeah.
but it's way more horror than
and
it
it's
is
way
comedy.
infinitely better than
I
this
think
one.
I'm
yeah.
starting to remember a little bit. Maybe I did see it. Anyways, so he goes off and does all these hijinks, which include there's a homeless guy that's constantly asking him for croissants. He runs him over.
It's very funny. They mentioned croissants 3 times. Please
That's
laugh.
the thing.
Please
oh,
laugh.
Fuck. We should have said that in the review. Like, none of the jokes are funny, and they
Oh, we did.
keep.
We just said
we
it
did
was-
say that, but
it was
I
funny.
just wanted to give you an example of one of the jokes.
Croissant
One of them
man. It's
is
like
croissant. What is? I took notes. I even forgot them already.
Yeah.
Come
For the
on.
jokes.
Oh, I have here. You're gonna laugh a lot. I found it. Okay. I have very small ear canals.
comes up 3 times.
Oh no.
Oh, more than that.
Oh yeah, 6. I counted them.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
because there's like
so-
other characters that have.
So
smaller
basically,
canals, too.
running unfunny jokes into the fucking ground as if this is your banger.
Like,
And
what the fuck was that? The point of it?
Maybe they made a movie so that they could themselves do a riff tracks version of them. It's like the Zack
Ma-
Snyder
oh,
thing.
hey,
So
hey!
Zack Snyder makes
That's what
movies
it is.
so fucking bad.
he's gonna riff off his own garbage.
Yeah, so he'll release a director's cut later. This is they made a movie so bad that it's only funny when they do a riff tracks on top of it later.
Yeah. So he goes to his studio where he works. So he works at a studio, recording studio, and we get our first cameo from the Reno 911 guy and some other, I don't know.
Guy.
He's his character's a fat asshole that thinks he's talented and he just shits on everybody else.
He does ketamine.
Yeah, and cocaine. I don't even know what genre of music he was singing. It was awful. And he, he shares his music with the Reno guy, and the guy's like, "Oh man, about to say it's maybe good." And dude comes in, starts
is
shitting
crap.
on everything. In fact, it gets him fired from his fucking job. These 2 characters are supposed to be entertaining and wacky and fun. I hated them both.
It's a wasted cameo entirely because this guy's super funny. And then you don't forget that this is a really important time where they're trying to get a joke in.
Yeah.
Prog rock's not good to fuck to
Oh,
because
yes.
that's what the
Yes.
asshole says. Like, I make music that's good to fuck to. And Vlad about 100 times in this movie says,
So you can't
fuck to it because that's super funny, guys. You can't fuck to prog rock.
Oh my god. Anyways, so see, yeah, that's essentially what it is. I'm just disliking the jokes. I'm disliking the characters, and anyways, what happens after this? So we can just some weird shit.
He gets fired.
Draw a dick on his head.
After he gets fired is when he kills Vlad.
Yeah, he gets fired. He kills Vlad, and
Or Vlad kills
but
himself,
immediately after he kills Vlad. Vlad starts talking to his girlfriend. Calls him. He's trying to tell because his girlfriend leaves. There's these abrupt character turns that I don't fucking buy from the girlfriend character, and you can just see the writers in the writing room. And you're not supposed to see the writers in the writing room. She has enough of his shit because he keeps forgetting to bring home
Printer paper.
printer paper.
That's
3
the last
times.
straw.
Yeah,
the
because
last
comedy's in 3s. Did you remember to bring the printer paper? Oh no. And then she leaves his ass. Because they didn't bring a pen
last
or paper.
straw.
And then she's like, this has been happening for a long. It's like, I don't buy that. You're just like constant. Like, she was like so good to him. And like the relationship was perfect. Because
But
they
we
want to
needed to
set
get
it
to
up.
the second act.
They have to set it up so nice. But so that you could feel for him when she breaks. I'm like, you're just doing that because the script dictates it. And she's like, all right, I'm leaving. So she says on the phone, he's like, that's great. Because he just murdered somebody. He needs some time to fucking hide the evidence. But now Vlad starts fucking talking. And here's where I thought, all right, here we go. Because we can get into some demonic shit. Maybe Vlad was worshiping the devil and he has powers or something
or
like that.
Or just get funny with it.
Yeah, and none of it
And
happens.
this is 40 minutes into the movie. I looked.
Yeah.
So 40 minutes into the movie. So it was bad for 40 minutes. And this happens. I'm like, I felt the same way. I was like, this is when it starts cool. We've got this cool like body thing where it's like he's getting slapped by a severed arm and like he's getting tripped over here. We're going to do cool stuff with it. Nope, never happened.
All that is in there. And it should be funny, but it's not.
It's not.
And also it's one of those films where, clearly nobody is bothered by the person who's bothering everybody. Vlad making a bunch of noise and everybody acts like they can't hear the music.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. For the fucking, it's bad. It's just bad. Wrote. So he kills a homeless guy who apparently so as these things spiral out of control, he backs his van into the homeless guy who's always asking him for food, and it somehow turns out, I was so confused by this, as he's over his body, he checks his phone.
Yeah, because when the homeless guy dies, he says, that's a great lick. And that's the tagline from the guy on YouTube's who's been watching. He's like, oh no, this homeless guy was secretly
my hero
the whole time.
Why? Why?
Everything's got to be connected.
It means nothing because it's not. Okay. Because it's funny. I don't know.
That guy didn't want to sit through a lot of makeup, so all they did was they put like a 5-pound thing of latex
that's some makeup.
on top of his face, where there's a tire tread on top of it.
I bet you it takes a long time to put him in that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I expected more after seeing what they did to the other one. It's like, hey, you did a really good job over there. That doesn't look anywhere near as good as that one.
So then he's like, oh fuck this, I can't. Or he goes home, and the boys are back. They're back in Vlad's fucking apartment making more noise. He's like, so he goes in there and ends up having a montage scene where he just says, fuck it, and he has fun with the boys. They're laughing on the floor.
They do cocaine and drink
got a
vodka.
severed head. And I'm like, this is where it should be working. It should be working here, but it's just the dialogue and the jokes are not funny, while it's interesting to look at the way the scenes are shot and the way the lighting is and everything. It's interesting to look at, but it's not hitting. So,
yeah, they start dancing, having a good time. They're just like talking about his music. It's like, oh yeah, I've been working on this. He's like, oh yeah, show us your music.
Oh
like,
yeah, finally.
You guys really want to hear my music? So they go back to his apartment. He puts the severed head on one of the shelves. They start listening to music. Oh, this is pretty good. And this and that. And then Philip, the pig guy, shows up.
The what?
Like, the pig guy.
The pig guy, yes.
Yes, Philip. That's his name.
Then there was a neighbor, yeah, Philip.
They kept calling him the pig guy. He's like,
because he has a bunch of
Phillip.
pigs in the
Emotional support pigs.
Emotional support pigs.
He's like, turn your goddamn music down. It's crap, and starts breaking everything, starting being a dick to Will. And he's like, don't you dare break this record. It's a very fancy record. And
so they get into a tug of war back and forth. And then Will lets go, and then the guy stabs himself in the neck with the broken vinyl.
Yes.
But that doesn't kill him. And he's like, oh no, I'll take it back out. And then he takes it out, and then more blood comes out. And he's like, oh shit, I'll put it back in. And he puts it in, and more.
And all the practical effects are good here.
Yeah.
So yeah, but because of everything that came before, we're just not invested.
It's completely checked out.
We're already checked out. But then his girlfriend walks in as the guy falls over dead, and he's like, Vlad's encouraging him, put him out of his misery. So he becomes a serial killer essentially, and kills all of his neighbors, kills that neighbor, and then his girlfriend walks in and is like, sees everything, and he's like, no, don't run. He's like, you're gonna go to the cops, and she's like, yeah, probably I'm going to the cops. And he's like, no, and then he gets in front, but she manages to trick him and get away. And she goes to the cops, and he slams in jail. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I was like, I just don't want any more of this guy, and just lock him up, throw the keys away. At least the film didn't do the thing where the cops are like, well, I don't see anything wrong here or whatever, and you're free to go. So I thought.
Yeah,
so
he's
we're in jail.
Cell. He's talking to his Vlad and everyone else. He's like, all right, guys, where are you guys? I need
They're
you
not
guys to
there.
break me out.
The key here is that they don't follow him into the jail cell, and he's talking to him, so it makes it look like
I thought
he's
they
super
were gonna
crazy.
do something with it, but
they didn't do anything with it. So they didn't play with it. Is it in his head? Well, clearly it's in his head, but, you know, I don't know. That's direction. And so then his friend from earlier in the film who had like a bit part, Alan, yeah, says that he has movie scripts, and but it turns out his dad wrote, you know, or somebody
he's a trust fund
he
kid.
knew, trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Turns out that he couldn't make it, and he's him. He's always gonna be him, no matter if somebody gives him a shortcut. It's a message that you can't take you can't take shortcuts to successes if you don't fucking get your shit together before. Yeah.
Is that what it is? I thought the whole subplot was they're like, hey, because he stole someone's script and sold it as his own, and this is kind of borrowing heavily from better movies and selling it as their own. I thought that's what the point that they were making here.
There you go.
Watch voices.
So that character is in there for just that purpose because it feels pointless. You know, he has this combo with his creep friend, and then comes the part where he gets off scot-free. So they go to a scene with this lawyer who shows up, and this time it's Alex Winters without any makeup. And he pulls a paper, a police report, which is really written in. It's written on school paper, like from elementary school paper. Apparently the cop doesn't.
It's the big lines with the dotted line in between so you can do your cursive right.
And he starts reading from it, and it turns out when the cops showed up, there was not a speck of blood. And no bodies. So you're telling me these pigs...
No body, no crime.
Nobody, no crime. You're telling me these pigs fucking ate all of the bodies?
Beware a man who has pigs. And you learned that.
Beware a man who has pigs from...
Snatch.
Snatch? Yeah, that's right. And he licks... And you're also the pigs licked every single drop of blood up?
Yeah. That's what it's
and
like,
then left clean shirts?
Yes.
Spray everywhere. I was like, did they get on the walls?
Maybe he was imagining a spray.
I hated this so much, and by then you're supposed to be like, it's funny, don't worry, you know, we're just having fun.
Cleaned everything. I was
but I'm like,
whatever.
If Vlad, like, honestly, if Vlad had been like, hey man, I'm not gonna let you go down for this, and like he wants him to continue to go down like the path of depravity, it's like, okay, at least we're doing something with that.
If you had, or if you had gone the Satan fucking, you know. Paranormal route, you could wave everything away with Satan powers, you know? But no. Apparently, everything was cleaned up for him magically.
By the pigs.
By the pigs. So he gets out of jail, and...
also, his landlady had died because she had asked him to help look at the fuse box. And
I forgot about that.
And he's like, hey, you need to actually call an electrician. I'm not an electrician. But she goes to fix it herself this time, and she electrocutes herself. And then she gets all crispy. And
so after he leaves the jail, he's like, all right, we need one more favor. Go identify the body. Goes sees the landlord lady being all crispy. He's like, yep, that's her. And then the landlord lady starts talking.
And he has the power to talk to her, too, in his mind. And she gets a great effect. Again. Good talent here from whoever worked on the skeleton lady.
But do you know who she is? She was a member of a very famous band that he loves so much, and she's got incredible. She's got a bass guitar and then like a super.
The Mega Ultra.
It's a Megatar. I looked it up, Joe. It's real. So I know how you like guitars. You want to buy a guitar?
I got one.
You finally got your guitar, Joe. Well, that was the point of this whole review. Now we know that Joe got his guitar, and I'm going to have to buy one of those Megatars because that thing is real as well. Anyways, they don't even feature it, I guess, because they don't know how to play guitar, so that's why they don't ever, you know, really do it. They just fake like they're doing it. And they make a fucking band. So, Vlad and even his neighbor that he killed and the homeless guy that he killed, they all show back up, and they do a band, but they go to where the record executive and the asshole are, and they're having sex. They break in. It's like, oh, we're just helping each other out.
It's very funny that they're having sex.
It's funny because they have Speedos on, and they were whatever. And so What happens there?
You just check that. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, they tie up one dude with Vlad's intestines, and then the other one just gets tied to a chair.
And I gotta say, the torso is really well done. Vlad's torso, it's creepy, it's disgusting, its intestines are constantly used as appendages and stuff, and it's like creative, and that's that kind of dark horror comedy that would work so well if this was a better film.
Yeah. So they use the last couple minutes of the movie to try to finish his album, but the police show up, and
Oh no!
and then the police are like, "Hey, you got to come out," and he's like, "No, I won't come out." He's like, "Cool, we brought your girlfriend here, your ex-girlfriend."
And she's like, "Yeah, I didn't even really want to come
I didn't want to
here."
be here. And the guy says, "Well, I really want to finish my album. It's actually almost done. I'm finally going to finish something for once in my life." And she's like, "Okay, cool. I'm going to tell a 40-minute long story that's boring." And this is another running joke through the movie that she has a very boring story about Big Bear. And so
and in that moment she decides, "Oh, I love him.
I love him again.
I want to be with him." No, you go from I didn't want to come here.
Also,
fuck you.
I
To
watched
help
you
him.
murder a guy.
And then when he goes,
Now
I
you
just
wanna
want to
help
film.
him?
I just
No.
want to film in my album. He's so meek. Fuck men, people like this. Men like this can't stand up for themselves. Fuck you, you sniveling bitch, loser.
but he gets what he wants.
Vlad
because
was right.
she-
Because the fucking script says so. Because losers like this should never win. Because they need to fucking take control of their goddamn life and stand up for themselves, which is the point of the movie, but it just never really happens because it's written for them to happen for him.
So while she's simultaneously telling the story, they're cutting back and they're in there and they're jamming. But then Vlad stops singing and Vlad goes, I called the cops because I'm secretly an instrument demon. And he uses all of his appendages and he gets a clarinet and a flute. And then there's a guitar on his back, and he turns into like this giant monster from the poster.
Was a demon, Satan.
And he's like,
but it's all in his head.
He's talking shit about him the whole
guess.
time. You're never gonna finish this. You suck. And then the guy puts on like his Technicolor dream coat, and then grabs his guitar and starts spinning into rainbows.
Oh my!
And then he's
God.
playing these like this.
This is what I'm talking about. Level
It could've
9
been
cringe.
better.
Yeah, and they're cutting back and forth to the again. They go back outside, and then she's like, "Yeah," and then you brought the board games, but you didn't have a credit card. And then they cut back in, and he's spinning in circles, and he's defeating the demon with his horrible 4 chords.
It could have been cool.
And
Yeah, the song sucks.
and then it turns out they finished the album, and
I like prog rock.
And I like prog rock too. And he goes to jail, and then he wins album of the year, and then the movie ends.
Oh,
he's in
you
jail.
see, it was just, and then she touched my dick. You know, it's
You forgot the most important part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alex.
What did I forget?
Okay, after he wins the award, he's in prison.
and he's got the cocky face on.
Yeah, he's talking to his girlfriend through the phone or whatnot, or through the little glass. He's like, "Oh, don't worry. During an interview, they gave me some headphones with small ear canals."
Because I have tiny ears. Because
Fucking piece of shit.
yeah,
They're gonna bring
that was
that shit
it was
up.
important. It was
You-
important. We talked.
We've been talking about small ear canals the entire time. So he's like,
I'm
"They
trying to
finally
figure out
made
who
me
laugh
some."
at this.
Please laugh.
Maybe fans of the show, like the Mystery Science Theater and the Nerdist. Maybe
I like Mr. Sassy and the
we're in the
Nerdist.
wrong.
Maybe he does have small ear canals.
Well,
and
then
he
why
wanted to
weren't
incorporate
you
it.
kinder to it?
I don't know. I wanted to.
I wanted to. We all wanted to.
Like I want to be in these types of movies.
Yeah.
I like he talked about it, but it's like I would love to just be a guy that
And
just
then
gets
y'all
murdered.
would probably be just as bad, and 3 of us would be making fun of y'all.
Oh
3.
no!
Oh, yeah.
I said that I'm gonna be in a B movie. It's gonna be fucking horrible. Just watch our scenes, and then
And
that's
there's
it.
going to be a group of 3 guys just railing on you, just like we did. So no.
I'm okay with it.
It's not personal. No hard feelings to those guys over there
right.
at
No,
Mystery Science
But
or Nerdist.
I think they fucked it up as soon as they killed Vlad. They should have been like,
Yes,
they should have
yeah.
incorporated.
and it
him
was
being-
just his head, and because they were limited by what he can do and the situations, it was just too early.
yes, like he should have been the annoying neighbor, and he's like just pent up frustration later on, and just some crazy hijinks that he's doing.
Can you imagine if he killed?
Doing something cool like that.
If he kills Vlad last, like Vlad's like egging him on because he accidentally kills like a neighbor, and then another one happens, and Vlad is like
Yeah.
trying to push him down this dark thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been fun, but I don't know.
yeah, but
Was not for me.
It wasn't for us. It
was
wasn't for us.
killed him off too soon.
So, various montages of those little pieces of song were so painful to watch and unfold on the screen, turns into a fever dream. But yeah, again, a film about overcoming distractions, fear of failure, and being yourself. And there was a few moments too where the film's music drops, and then one of those therapy speeches are given in the middle of it while everybody is just frozen. I just hate that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then they end on that same insanely funny joke that Joe just mentioned, that he has small ear canals, and I hate this goddamn movie.
Yeah, go watch Tucker
Beekeeper.
and Dale.
Huh?
It's a Tucker and Dale.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker and Dale's great.
Watch Freaked. Watch Voices. Watch Idle Hands. Those are all
Before
better.
you even get here.
Yes, those are all better.
And then if you've scraped the bottom of the barrel as hard as we have, and you want to see how cringy it is and the things that we talked about, it's there on Shudder, but don't pay anything. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry about that, and thank you
I'm
guys.
sorry.
Yeah. Well, so maybe we'll have to see eventually. Is Beekeeper's better, or what is it, Book of Clarence? That looks like a biblical, like Jesus kind of parody that could have been funnier. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.